And then finally, a movie that doesn't shy away from asking the question, what about Bob?
What about Bob? Yes, and I dressed appropriately for this review. uh, my father has the same shirt, and I haven't worn it out in public yet, but my dad has worn his, and we do it because we live in Central Florida, which is a very tourist heavy area, so it fits for us.
Yep.
But yeah, but this movie, yeah. What about Bob? This is with at least within my family, this was a favorite watch for us. Um, just a real quick story about that. So how we discovered it was my father. My father in his job, he used to travel a lot overseas, and so he was on planes all the time. And of course, on overseas trips, they always show movies. And on one of these flights, he's sitting there, and he was actually thought about going to sleep, but then he looked at the movie and on the screen, and of course the opening of the movie shows the goldfish swimming around. And when my dad saw that, he thought the movie was A Fish Called Wanda, which is
another fine movie.
Which is another great movie, yeah. And but he saw it and he went, "Oh, I've already seen that movie." So he was trying to go to sleep. But then he started hearing all the passengers on the plane start laughing, and not just like chuckling, laughing, but like guttural, rolling on the floor, laughing. So he started watching it, and it was this movie. So he ended up watching it, and he was like everybody else on the plane. He was laughing his butt off, but of course he didn't get any sleep on the flight. But,
yeah. Kind of a downside, yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but he watched a great movie. But yeah, so what about Bob is the story of Bob Wiley, who is played by Bill Murray, and Bob's got problems.
Yes, if there's a social anxiety related phobia, he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the first like 5 minutes of the movie or 10 minutes of the movie, you discover that he's agoraphobic. He doesn't want to go outside. He's germophobic. He's got to touch everything with a Kleenex, and he's also claustrophobic because he didn't want to go up in the elevator.
Yep. And so he just ends up climbing the stairs.
Yeah, 40 floors.
Yep. So I believe you mentioned that Bob was played by Bill Murray, but we'll just reiterate. Bill Murray plays Bob Wiley, who was apparently named after Wile E. Coyote. Because the dynamic of Chaser and Chasey was part of the inspiration for the movie.
Yeah.
And his regular psychiatrist is like, so the psychiatrist calls up and is talking with Richard Dreyfuss's character Dr. Leo Marvin, and from the dialogue, I got the impression that he was trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going for a weekend. And it looked like he was packing up his office.
Yeah.
Because he no longer wishes to deal with Bob and his extreme cleanliness.
Yes. So he pawns him off on Leo Marvin, and of course, Leo. And right off the bat, you can tell Dr. Leo Marvin is just completely full of himself.
Complete stuffed shirt. He's peddling in pop psychology, trying to sell his book.
Yeah. His book's called Baby Steps, which comes up a lot throughout the course of the movie. But yeah, so Bob shows up, and of course Bob is Bob. He just starts acting up and telling him all this stuff. And what the part that I like is when he says, or he's like, well, if I fake it, I don't have it. Like he's pretends he has Tourette's and he has a heart attack. And Leo Marvin asks him, "Are you married?" He's like, "I'm divorced." Like, okay, well, what happened there? Like, there are two kinds of people in this world: people who like Neil Diamond and people who don't. She liked Neil Diamond. And Leo Marvin says, "Well, maybe your wife left you because of all of your neuroses and your, phobias and everything. And you didn't leave her because she likes Neil Diamond." He's like, Oh,
I never thought of it like that.
well, yeah. He's like, oh, ow, just ow.
Yep. So, Leo took this patient on just as like a favor to his buddy who he thought was going out of town.
Yeah.
And he thinks, okay, I just saw this guy once, favor done. I can wash my hands of this and move on with my life.
Right. And well, yeah, and well, the other part of it too is of course Leo Marvin's going on vacation because he's going because apparently I guess it's a thing in New York where psychiatrists all take the month of August off and they go off to Martha's Vineyard or the Hamptons or you
To,
know
to which I can only say, if I was paying an hourly rate for a psychiatrist and I found out that he could afford to take a month-long vacation in those prissy areas, I would really question where where my where my fees were going.
yeah, I would too. Yeah. Um but um But yeah, but Bob is just like, "You're going on vacation?" He's like, "Well, yeah, he's going away for a month, and then, but then he guys said, well, we'll, I'll, come back to my office on after Labor Day, and and but then of course Bob, being Bob, he can't take the separation
Yep.
from Leo, so he does this whole uh concocts this whole scheme to try to find out where Leo Marvin is, and he's finds out he's up in Lake Winnipesaukee, which is in New Hampshire.
Via an extremely elaborate series of lies.
Yeah. And yeah, so he ends up getting on a bus, although it takes him a while to get on the bus because he's claustrophobic. He heads up to Lake Winnipesaukee, and who kills me is when he gets off the bus, all the other passengers start cheering like,
Yeah.
yeah, and we find, of course, Leo Marvin is up in Lake Winnipesaukee with his family, his wife Faye, who's played by Julie Haggerty.
Who's always a delight in these sorts of quiet supporting roles.
Yes, yeah. Most people remember her from Airplane.
Or if you're cultured, noise is off.
Yes, noise is off, right? Excuse me. And then in his he has his teenage daughter. What was her name?
So
Anna.
it was
Anna.
Yeah.
His daughter Anna, who the actress was actually who plays the daughter. She was on one of the Law and Order shows for a while.
Okay.
And then and just to show how egotistical Leo Marvin is, he named his son Sigmund.
Yeah, okay, so Sigmund Freud has been very debunked for a long time, or at least psychology has long since moved past him. So, but he still kind of stands in as like the psychologist that people know exists.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Marvin even had a bust of him in his apartment, or sorry, his office.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that would be like me, naming my kids Stan.
Right.
Like I would never do that.
And at least if you named your kids after Stan Lee, Stan is an ordinary enough name that people might ask about it once they got to know you better.
Mm-hmm.
Say, is there a kid named for the comic book guy?
Yeah. But yeah, so he's up there, and of course, there's a whole little subplot there about his house there at Lake Winnipesaukee, because when Bob arrives, and of course Leo Marvin's just like, what are you doing here, Bob? I'm on vacation, Bob.
This is a serious violation, Bob.
Yeah. And so the basically the whole movie is like him trying to like get rid of Bob, like Bob, go back to New York, and but Bob just can't take no for an answer.
Yep, just physically cannot take no for an answer.
Yeah, and what's funny is of course there's a couple of owns this coffee shop, and the house that Leo Marvin bought was their dream house, but he swooped in from under them and bought it. And of course, you know, in their hatred for Leo Marvin, they go to Bob and they're like, "Hey, we'll tell you where he lives."
Right. Oh, what's this? A chance to spite the guy who spited us? Yes, please.
Yeah. And there's yeah, they keep rowing by the house on the lake, and he's like, "I have every right to buy this house."
Yep. So you mentioned your story with this. I had actually, I think I'd seen this particular movie cover many, many times when I was at various rental stores back in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
this thing was everywhere as far as I could tell. Um, and it's quite funny. I think that my only issue with it is
yeah.
that the movie seems to be on Bob's side, and I actually kept waiting for the moment where it turned out Bob was just faking it,
Yeah.
which didn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
Like he just comes off as so inauthentic to me most of the time. So I'm just like, okay, is this going to be like the only sane man situation or what?
Right. Yeah. Well, it plays out that way because when he starts hanging around with the family, like the wife and kids love him. They think he's just he's a really sweet guy. The little
You just got to
neurotic,
give him
but
a chance.
yeah. And Leo just sees him as a patient. He's just a patient with a lot of problems.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it just keeps being like, okay, it's like, is it going to turn out that he is like an axe murderer or something? Or
Yeah.
like, when is the other shoe going to drop? And it
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
really.
No, no, it doesn't. No, and yeah, I'm trying to avoid giving away a lot of the jokes because like I genuinely want people to watch this movie if they haven't seen it. Like they really need to watch this movie.
Right. There's a lot to recommend it. Like I said,
Yeah,
my only complaint was I kept waiting for the plot twist that never arrived.
yeah,
That isn't a movie problem. That is a me thinking I'm smarter than the movie problem, or me thinking that I'm so insightful problem, you know?
right, yeah. And I will say another thing that I really liked about this movie, and I've been, and if you've been watching us for any length of time, and if we, when we've reviewed like comedies from this era, a criticism I usually have is that the third act tends to get really silly. Uh, that wasn't the case with this movie. I think the third act was perfect for the build up for what it built up to.
Right, because he really is just driving Dreyfuss crazy. By the way, would this be a good time to talk about how he was actually driving Dreyfuss crazy?
Yes, yes, let's do that. Yeah. Yeah, so the making of this movie is almost as interesting as the movie itself. Where Bill Murray it was just basically he stayed in character like the whole time, and it was just driving Dreyfuss crazy. And not only that, but he was always improvising. Like if you ever know anything about Murray, that's kind of a staple of his was just always doing ad lib and improv. And Dreyfuss is like the complete opposite. He's like, okay, you memorize your lines, you rehearse the scene, you do the scene, that's it.
We aren't the writers. We're here to execute.
Right. Yeah. And and not only that, but apparently, like I guess neither one of them liked each other very much.
Right, like they'd apparently met when Dreyfuss was the host of SNL, and they just didn't click.
Right. Yeah. And then yeah, then they reunited whatever 10, 11, 12 years later, and they still didn't like each other. And Dreyfuss called Murray a what was it, a drunk Irish bully.
Which, you know what? Uh, okay, so sidebar. I always thought that the reason that Bill Murray and Chevy Chase didn't get along was because Chevy Chase was a jerk. Well, you know the saying that if everywhere you go, everyone is an asshole.
Yeah.
maybe you're the asshole.
Maybe you're the asshole. Yeah.
Um, like I've definitely like had a shift on opinion of Bill Murray over the years just from stories I've heard of him working with various people.
Yeah. 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 He definitely has a massive ego. Um, and yeah, he just likes doing things his own way. And you know, on top of this story with him and Dreyfuss, of course, he had that falling out with Harold Ramis when they were making Groundhog Day.
Right,
And
which
yeah,
it's like when I first heard about that, I thought, okay, like what, so sort of like legitimate creative differences. It's like, huh. Like I keep wanting to question that now. Like who was actually at fault?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well, I'll definitely say for him is that he clearly cares about his craft and he wants things to be right. It's
yeah,
just that he isn't afraid to needle other people in the process.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely a guy you need to separate the art from the artist. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, like this movie was apparently difficult to work on, in part because Frank Oz, the director, yes, Grover and Yoda, Frank Oz,
Yeah.
uh, decided to kind of embrace the chaos given the theme of the movie. So he didn't
Yes.
really stop the arguments because it was like a outside of the personal disagreement, it was also a disagreement about how the movie should be handled because the ending we got was very different than the original ending.
Yeah. Yeah. The original ending, I think, um, yeah, I don't know if that would have worked very well. I don't think.
Yeah, because like as I recall, the original ending was just he ends up institutionalized, right? And I'm being vague on purpose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then and Bob is his doctor.
Right. What they actually came up with was much more interesting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Still kind of like, oh my God, what, he was just kind of a blowhard who wanted to sell a probably useless pop psychology book. Did he
Yeah.
really deserve all that?
Yeah, there's a yeah, like it's a little overkill here.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But but no, yeah, but yeah, this movie is just like I would definitely put this movie in terms of especially with like Bill Murray movies. I put this like in the top 3 of his movies. Um,
Yeah. No, definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet, and
uh,
you're in the mood for a I don't know if that mean spirited comedy isn't necessarily the right word. You have to be in the mood to watch Dreyfuss be destroyed by something besides a shark.
right, yeah. Yes. And once again, like all of our movies, this is currently on Tubi. So you can watch it for free, but with ads. So.
Which okay, so I gotta say, as a platform, I appreciate that things like Tubi exist. On the flip side, their ad placement was rather aggressive this go around.
Yeah, it was. They need to find a better place to put those ads because sometimes they'll put them like in mid sentence.
Yes, and it's wild to me that some of these ad-supported streaming services seem to have this problem, considering that most of the movies they're showing originated on TV, where they would be like dedicated spots for ad breaks that they could have copied from.
Yeah, yeah, hmm. Yeah. Well, let's so hope they get that problem fixed at some point.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think we've
Oh,
said
well,
all we need to say for tonight.
indeed.
Well,